touted as one of the most active and talented digital media artists in Korea and of our time. Our globalist today, Kang Yiyun, is recognized for her immersive audiovisual installations that recast space with moving images and sound. From mapping out the passage of water collected from NASA satellites to using an iconic building in Chicago as a canvas for a vision of the future, Kang has gone where few video artists have gone before. And she's just getting started. Join us today as we talk about the vital message she wants to send and the breathtaking works through which we will experience her vision. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Globalists.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, let's talk about the passage water because we just finished another COP meeting. This was unveiled during COP 28. Tell us about this passage of water project that you had.
So the project, I spent a year on the project, and it started from the email from Google, Arts and Culture. So Google it's a massive company, and they have a very important sector, which is arts and culture. And then they have a small but very strong program, which is called the Heartbeat of the Earth. So it's very particular collaboration between artists. So they invite artists, a couple of artists every year, to tackle the climate crisis of Earth. So that was given mission to me, but other than that, it's quite open book. And then the other mission is that we need to talk about the Earth, but we need to be grounded in a robust data sets. It's an artwork. It could be speculative, but we need to be grounded in a fact.
So facts and figures and science has to be your
Exactly.
foundation for whatever you create.
Yeah.
Did they invite NASA into this project?
Yeah, so thanks to the long-term relationship between Google and NASA, at the time, I was really fortunate that the NASA has launched a very new satellite.
That's what SWAT.
Exactly.
The SWAT was.
It's called a SWAT. I remember that day. I can't forget it. So the director of the Google Arts and Culture sent me an email that, hey, Yiyun, there is an organization who wants to join our project and wants to meet you. Do you up for it? So, of course, who they are. So, it's NASA. So,
Wow,
What?
the space people.
of course, it's the space people. So we had a very initial meeting. They explained about the new satellite mission, which is specifically about the fresh water. So are you interested in using our data set to talk about the Earth? So then I need to study at the beginning, because when you think about NASA, most of the people think about the universe, the space. But the one thing that I learned from the very beginning of this project is that actually a lot of part of the NASA research about Earth, because we need to understand about the Earth so that we can talk about the terraforming. We need to understand about the Earth so that we can understand how human or the other entities on the Earth can live and sustain. And because of the climate change, the NASA Earth division has become ever more important.
Passage of water is about how water passes through different aspects of its being, right? How do you create something out of what you now have?
Yeah, my very beginning was study all the NASA satellites. There is 26 different NASA satellites that studies the Earth, not the space. But then I need to understand how they're different, what kind of data set they are making, and what kind of data set that I need to talk about the freshwater story. Because what I wanted to do was, water is the most valuable resource on Earth, and we're wasting it, so we need to take care of it. Then The new satellite, it was like 6 months old.
Oh, what year was this? This was
2022 to 3.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So it was amazing privilege that NASA gave me the initial data set for the first time. But then the problem is that it lacks the depth of the data because it's so new.
You can't compare it.
I can't compare it. So then I need to go back to my initial research. Is there any other satellite that studied the Earth's freshwater for a long time? And then I found it. There's another satellite which is called the GRACE, and they've been collecting the water data set of the Earth for 20 years.
Oh, so that's how you got to collect data from two different satellites.
Exactly.
One that had already had the accumulative data,
Exactly.
and one that was giving you the new data.
Yeah. So then my assumption is that then I can talk about the past of the water and the presence of the water and the future of the freshwater.
What is the purpose of sharing it with you?
They really care about what is happening on Earth. That's what I felt from a year-long collaboration with NASA scientists, the team. But they want to deliver the message. They have lots of knowledge here, but they can't deliver it to the general public.
They can't talk to the
They
general
can't talk to because the language is slightly different. The language of the scientists, language from the Google engineers, language from the artists, it's all very different. And then they wanted to find a person who can be very creative and speculative, but at the same time, very analytical, who can understand the data, who can analyze the data, and who can give a story to the data sets.
So you're translating.
Yeah, that's what I think. So we did an online exhibition at the Google platform. It's a permanent exhibition, online exhibition. And we had another physical exhibition at COP28 Dubai. And the feedback was, I have to say, it's really good. But the thing is that the feedback is very interesting from my perspective because some people saw it as a artwork, some people saw it as a design work, some people think it's a scientific work,
Yeah.
some people regard it as a game.
Okay.
So
Because it's
that-
interactive.
Because it's interactive, then my reaction is, do we have to define it? It could be an art, it could be a design work. It's everything. It's an entanglement of art and science and technology and design work. So because the theme itself, it's very complicated. So I wanted to make a very hybrid outcome that can reach out to many people.
Do you think that is a unique function that an artist like you can perform?
I actually did my BA in painting.
I saw unusual background.
Yeah, that's rare case.
Yes.
Because there are much more tech-based people who are working actively as a new media artist. Having a background in fine arts, I think it's a very strong language that I have. But then I gradually moved to video, and then I learned computer. So now I am actively working so many different kinds of hardware and software. But the reason that why I'm doing it is because it's the language of our time. Arts has been the language for human for thousands of years. We had painting, we had sculpture, we had photography, we had digital printing, but 2024 is very different from even 2010. The technology is embedded everywhere. Even advance of the AI, it has become a really strong language, even a new entity of our time. So for me, I am talking about human or Anthropocene or climate change using the language of our time, which is technology, so that it can reach out to many other people.
So that's the digital media art that you are in.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And it also showed up when you did the building in Chicago, Only in the Dark. I love the name. Tell tell us about Only in the Dark. What was that project about?
So Only in the Dark is run by the foundation. It's a Art on the Mart program. It's run by Chicago City and the foundation all together. So they spend lots of time. If you go to Chicago, that's a beautiful river work. And the Chicago is really phenomenal architectural city. They invite various artists, not just digital artists, but for example, Barbara Kruger, one of the most phenomenal contemporary artists. Essence of the program is not just about promoting digital arts, but making the city as an artistic platform.
Chicago as a city.
As a city. It's not a skyscraper, but in its volume, it's one of the biggest building in the world still. So, of course, it's the biggest projection venue in the world.
Okay, amazing, but a little intimidating. Yes, to have such a big canvas.
Yeah. I love to work with public venues. Well, I love museums and galleries for sure, but museums and galleries are more designed to arts lovers.
Yeah.
When you go to the museums, you're expecting to see an artwork there.
Sure.
But the public spaces, you never know. Literally anyone can see my work. So I wanted to talk about that, light, we can only perceive light in the darkness. Light is everywhere, but we can see the brightest light in the deepest darkness. And because of the climate change, because of the unfathomable AI, I feel that we are entering a new dark age somehow, because we are too advanced. And the result of that is we are alienating from the technology we are developing. And we are alienating from the nature that we're based in. So this is, I can say, the new dark age. So my work, the Art in the Mart project, it can be only seen in the deep darkness because it's a projection work.
But it's light.
It's light.
It's light that you shine and can only see in deep
the
darkness. I see.
강희연 작가에게는 통해 우리의 이야기가 그냥 더 깊어지는 것 같아요.
And then there's your work with the BTS, the Connect BTS project. It also reflects your desire to share a message, but this one in a different way. Through BTS and their relationship with their fan club ARMY. How did it come about and what were you trying to say?
I clearly remember that I was on the train from London to Cambridge.
Okay.
the internet call coming into my phone, and he was my longtime friend, and he is the curator. He's the art director of the Connect BTS project. So it was him. His question was, "Are you interested in joining the global project with BTS?" I was like, BTS?
Like the BTS?
That BTS? The BTS? Of course, we'll talk to you soon. And that was the very beginning of the project. And then I was really fortunate because I am the only Korean artist to join the project.
Yes, that was the other unusual aspect of it.
Exactly. The project is happening simultaneously, 5 different cities in the world. One of the most frequently asked question was that, okay, you collaborate with BTS, and where's the BTS in your work? Because it's not a portrait of BTS, it's not the photograph of the BTS. Then some people asked, then how can you define it's a collaboration?
Oh, okay.
Because of the BTS, we could connect 5 different cities in the world. It involves a massive institutions in the world. For example, the Serpentine Gallery in London, and Martin Gropiusbau Museum in Berlin, which is the phenomenal art venues in the world. And we also connected artists like Anthony Gormley, Thomas Saraceno, and the curator Hans-Ulrich Obrist.
The top notch in their
Top
field.
of the top notch of the contemporary art world. And how can they connect? Because the BTS worked as a catalyst. I was deeply touched by how these 7 boys from Korea, who does not even speak English perfectly, become a world phenomenal figure in the cultural scene. So my next question is, I want to meet the armies. Why do you support BTS that strongly? How is that possible? So I started to contact one random army, but it works like a rhizome. They're connecting. I met up to 15 different armies based in London, from teenager girl up to 70 years old lady. There's so many races, so many different professionalism. Well, they love them as individually, but collectively, they all love the message they're sending out to the world. That project hugely changed me because the contemporary art is sometimes too difficult to understand.
So you can only reach a limited
Exactly.
audience.
So you try to understand it. You read all the text on the wall, you read all the copies in the paper, you're still not getting it. And sometimes it's not visually appealing. But that 7 boys, they're sending out their messages out there. But why can't I do that?
So you understand sort of the impact of the message that they're sending out.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, can I maybe do it through my art as well?
Yeah.
Interesting perspective. Were you happy with your final project?
Yeah, it was very challenging. The platform itself is very interesting. For example, if you go to Biennale, everybody goes to one venue. If you go to Venice, but it's entirely different from that. Every different thing is happening simultaneously around the world. And I loved that connected platform. And the BTS visited my exhibition.
Oh, that must have been exciting.
Exciting.
But I still feel that, a lot of your look at art in general was influenced by your background in the fine arts. Do you think that had the basic influence that affects how you look at world and how you look at your future?
I believe so. Having a background in painting, it's always made me acutely aware of the medium specificity. I've been long time, I was trained as a painter, meaning I work with the canvas. I work the materiality of the oil colors, watercolors, and I have to, sometimes it's very intuitive. But then video is very different. It's more like, it's a temporality. I can work with time. But then moving on to the digital, there's so many different layers I added so that I can work with space and time together. Based on the technology, based on the software and hardware that I'm using, it could be forever new. For example, when I work with data, when I work with projector, when I work with AI, it's entirely different.
I see that when you did your piece for the luxury timepiece, the Golden Rule. That really shouted artist to me. Did you sort of feel that was part of your role?
I believe so. So I had a meeting when we had a first meeting with the brands, they wanted to commission very special artwork to me, to an artist, to reinterpret their iconic watch, which is revolving rectangular shape. Since its very inception, the design was intentionally reflecting the golden ratio. People wanted to see golden ratio everywhere. For example, in the face of Mona Lisa, in the Parthenon, but scientifically, theoretically, it's not in there. It's the way we want to see the world. We wanted to give the face of the Mona Lisa as a perfection of beauty. But scientists say that there is no golden ratio in the face of Mona Lisa.
Yeah, nothing is the same everywhere.
Nothing is the same. It's always relative. So the thing that I wanted to talk about through the project is that it's about the human perception, rather the number itself. Then wanted to find, is there any robust object in the world that is actually reflects the golden ratio number? And then there is a very small, for example, the pine cone or the sunflower seeds.
All right.
The seeds and the pine cone, the way they structure their leaves is actually interestingly following the golden ratio, the Fibonacci number. They naturally shaped in that order so that they can evolve better. That formulation make them...
It was Mother Nature that,
Exactly.
that created that
Exactly.
ratio.
So actually the golden ratio does not exist in the face of Mona Lisa, but it might exist in the nature for a better evolution. So maybe that's a reason why we want to give the number a meaning of perfection.
In your thought about the message you want to send and connect with people, do you see that in the future that is sort of the role that video media artists like yourself should perform?
I think that's a very important question because you know that I work with NASA sometimes, I work with BTS, I work with luxurious brands, but sometimes I feel myself that my very important role that I have is of course making an artwork itself, but sometimes it's persuade them. I want to weave my story in this way, using this data, using this research, based on this evidence, I want to do this. So listen to my story, give me the permission to tell my story. I was really fortunate in terms of that because all the industries that I've been working with, they are really supportive. Because for example, the watch case, they are completely fine. You don't need to show the actual image of watch because we love your idea. We love the way you interpret the theme or topic. And NASA scientists, they're super supportive because at the end of the day, we understand each other's language.
We're not showing a graph of the data.
No, not at all. So for me, it's obviously it's my job. So that you need to understand the philosophy that I have and philosophy that they have and what kind of technology needs to bridge from the inception to the final execution.
That's a very complex world that you live in.
I have to admit that I didn't expect, but it is, and I love it.
So, Kang, as a digital media artist, what would you like to do? What is on your wish list?
As an artist, I'm very much interested in energy.
Energy.
Yeah, because for me, electricity is the important energy that I need. Without the electricity, if it's turned off,
Lights go out.
it's gonna be messy. Well, conceptually, I'm very interested in fire because human is evidently a species of fire.
Yeah.
We'll burn it, we'll dig it, and we're based in carbon. So that's the reason why I've been interested in Anthropocene and fire and water.
I see your next project coming forth. Is there something that you are working on now that we can hear about?
For a long time, I am working on my solo exhibition that could perhaps happen in France.
Well, you need a very, very large campus for your solo exhibition. Are you taking a whole city, taking over Paris?
Maybe in just the periphery of Paris, there's a really amazing institution So yeah, we're working on that. So I'm hopefully.
Well, I am anxious to see. Visit us when you have that solo exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for me. I'll be back next week with another globalist who's putting Korea on the map. Son Ji-ae out.